Rama Rama Hare Hare. Tulsi Maharani Jai, Tulsi Maharani Jai, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, 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 Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi. तुलसी महारानी की जय, वृंदा देवी की जय.
Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Vishnu Bhat Paramahamsa, Pravakacharya, Astotara, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charananda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sekal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Vaitagadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatinamanda Shagidanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Urminitam Yaina Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Namo Vishnuvidaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Sunyavari Paschachate Satadine Namo Vishnuvidaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Vir Krishna Das Goswami Niti Namine Namo Hamsani Kashaya Prabhupada Sudri Dasudi Nisyam Yam Tasha Vaki Nivadide. Good morning. Today is the last day of Kartik. We're all so sad. Kartik's so full of, the whole month of Kartik is just full of rasa, you know. There's Prabhupada's disappearance, and Gaurikishore Das Babaji's disappearance, and Govardhan Puja, and just so many vivid and impactful events, and just, it's always churning. The rasa is always churning, actually. In Kartik, you know, and every day we offer a lamp to Lord Damodar and think about those pastimes. And reading more into those pastimes, it's just so beautiful because it's, you know, it's so innocent and it's so sublime, and the soul never tires of hearing about the pastimes of Lord Damodar. It's like you can't get enough. It's just like just drinking it all in, drinking the whole Kartik Ras in. And today, on the last day of Kartik, actually, is the Sri Krishna Rasa Yatra, which is the actual day where Lord Krishna performed his rasa dance. So today I'm going to just read about that from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book, because he puts it down in such a sweet way and pulls so many things in. So it's kind of, you know, the end of Kartik. I'm going to try to read as much as I possibly can. And if anybody has the vedabase.io, you can get on there and you can actually read along, but this is chapter 29 in the Krishna book. If you have the paper at home, and you can read and reread again, because it actually talks about the whole of Kartik. So I'm going to start right away because it's quite a long. It's called the Rasa Dance Introduction in chapter 29 of the Krishna book. So I encourage everybody to try to read it today, once or twice or thrice, to really hear every little bit that Prabhupada infuses. You can hear Prabhupada's just his bhava in this introduction of the Krishna book that he wrote. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the rasa dance took place on the full moon night of the Sharat season, which is today. From the statements of previous chapters, it appears that the festival of Govardhan Puja was performed just after the dark moon night of the month of Kartik, and thereafter the ceremony of Bratrir Dvitiya was performed. I'm not familiar with that. Then the wrath of Indra was exhibited in the shape of torrents of rain and hailstones, and Lord Krishna held up Govardhan Hill for 7 days until the 9th day of the moon. Thereafter, on the 10th day, the inhabitants of Vrindavan were talking amongst themselves about the wonderful activities of Krishna, and the next day, Ekadasi was observed by Nanda Maharaj. On the next day, Dwadasi, Nanda Maharaj went to take a bath in the Ganges and was arrested by one of the men of Varuna. Then he was released by Lord Krishna. Then Nanda Maharaj, along with the cowherd men, was shown the spiritual sky. In this way, the full moon night of the Sharat season came to an end. The full moon night of Ashvina is called Sharat Purnima. It appears from the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna had to wait another year for such a moon before enjoying the rasa dance with the gopis. At the age of 7 years, he lifted Govardhan Hill. Thereafter, the rasa dance took place during his 8th year. From the Vedic literature, it appears that when a theatrical actor dances among many dancing girls, the group dance is called a rasa dance. When Krishna saw the full moon night of the Sharat season decorated with various seasonal flowers, especially the malika flowers, which are very fragrant, he remembered the gopis' prayers to goddess Katyatyani, wherein they prayed for Krishna to be their husband. That starts tomorrow. Where he thought that the full moon night of the Sharat season was just suitable for a nice dance. So their desire to have Krishna as their husband would then be fulfilled. The words used in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam are Bhagavan Api. This means that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus has no desire that needs to be fulfilled because he is always full with 6 opulences, he still wanted to enjoy the company of the gopis in the rasa dance. Bhagavan Api signifies that this dance is not like the ordinary dancing of young boys and young girls. The specific words used in Srimad Bhagavatam are Yogamayam Upasrita, which mean that this dancing with the gopis is on the platform of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya or the external energy. The rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis is on the platform of Yogamaya. The difference between the platforms of Yogamaya and Mahamaya is compared in the Chaitanya Charitamrita to the difference between gold and iron. From the viewpoint of metallurgy, gold and iron are both metals, but the quality is completely different. Similarly, although the rasa dance and Lord Krishna's association with the gopis appear like the ordinary mixing of young boys and girls, the quality is completely different. The difference is appreciated by great Vaishnavas because they can understand the difference between love of Krishna and lust. On the Mahamaya platform, dances take place on the basis of sense gratification, but when Krishna called the gopis by sounding his flute, they very hurriedly rushed toward the spot of the rasa dance with the transcendental desire to satisfy Krishna. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, has explained that lust means sense gratification, and love also means sense gratification, but for Krishna. In other words, when activities are enacted on the platform of personal sense gratification, they are called material activities, but when they are enacted for the satisfaction of Krishna, then they are spiritual activities. On any platform of activities, the principle of sense gratification is there, but on the spiritual platform, sense gratification is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, whereas on the material platform, it is for the performer. For example, on the material platform, when a servant serves a master, he is trying to satisfy not the senses of his master, but rather his own senses. The servant would not serve the master if the payment stopped. That means that the servant engages himself in the service of the master just to satisfy his own senses. On the spiritual platform, however, the servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead serves Krishna without payment, and he continues his service in all condition. That is the difference between Krishna consciousness and material consciousness. As mentioned above, it appears that Krishna enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis when he was 8 years old. At that time, many of the gopis were married because in India, especially in those days, girls were married at a very early age. There are even many instances of a girl's giving birth to a child at the age of 12. Under the circumstances, all the gopis who wanted to have Krishna as their husband were already married. At the same time, they continued to hope that Krishna would be their husband. Their attitude toward Krishna was that of paramour love. Therefore, the loving affairs of Krishna with the gopis are called parakya ras. The attitude of a married man who desires another wife or a wife who desires another husband is called parakya ras. I'm going to skip down a little bit. The material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It is just like the reflection of a tree on the bank of a reservoir of water. The topmost part of the tree is seen as the lowest part. Similarly, parakya ras, when pervertedly reflected in this material world, is most abominable. Therefore, when people imitate the rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis, they simply enjoy the perverted, abominable reflection of the transcendental parakya ras. There is no possibility of enjoying this transcendental parakya ras within the material world. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that one should not imitate this parakya ras even in dream or imagination. Those who do so drink the most deadly poison. When Krishna, the supreme enjoyer, desired to enjoy the company of the gopis on that full moon night of the Sharat season, exactly at that very moment, the moon, the Lord of the stars, appeared in the sky, displaying its most beautiful features. The full moon night of the Sharat season is the most beautiful night in the year. When the full moon rose in the east, it tinged everything with a reddish color. With the rising of the moon, the whole sky appeared smeared by red kumkuma. This long-expected moonrise of the Sharat season was thus smearing the eastern sky. The appearance of the moon increased Krishna's desire to dance with the gopis. The forests were filled with fragrant flowers. The atmosphere was cooling and festive. When Lord Krishna began to blow his flute, the gopis all over Vrindavan became enchanted. Their attraction to the vibration of the flute increased 1,000 times due to the rising full moon, the red horizon, the calm and cool atmosphere, and the blossoming flowers. All the gopis were by nature very much attracted to Krishna's beauty, and when they heard the vibration of his flute, they became apparently lustful to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Immediately upon hearing the vibration of the flute, they all left their respective engagements and proceeded to the spot where Krishna was standing. While they ran very swiftly, their earrings swung back and forth. They all rushed toward the place known as Vamsi Vata. Some of them were engaged in milking cows, but they left their milking business half finished and immediately went to Krishna. One of them had just collected milk and put it in a milk pan on the stove to boil, but she did not care whether the milk overboiled and spilled. She immediately left to go see Krishna. Some of them were breastfeeding their small babies, and some were engaged in distributing food to the members of the families. But they left all such engagements and immediately rushed toward the spot where Krishna was playing his flute. Some were engaged in serving their husbands, and some were themselves engaged in eating, but caring neither to serve their husbands nor eat, they immediately left. Some of them wanted to decorate their faces with cosmetic ointments and to dress themselves very nicely before going to Krishna. Excuse me. But unfortunately, they could not finish their cosmetic decorations or put on their clothes in the right way because of their anxiety to meet Krishna immediately. Their faces were decorated hurriedly and were haphazardly finished. Some even put the lower part of their clothes on the upper part of their bodies and the upper part on the lower part. While all the gopis were hurriedly leaving their respective places, their husbands, brothers, and fathers were all struck with wonder to know where they were going. Being young girls, they were protected either by husbands, elder brothers, or fathers. All their guardians forbade them to go to Krishna, but they disregarded them. When a person becomes attracted by Krishna and it is in full Krishna consciousness, he does not care for any worldly duties, even though very urgent. Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it gives everyone relief from all material activities. Srila Rupa Goswami has written a very nice verse wherein one gopi advises another, "My dear friend, if you desire to enjoy the company of material society, friendship, and love, then please do not go to see that smiling boy Govinda, who is standing on the bank of the Jamuna and playing his flute, his lips brightened by the beams of the full moonlight." Srila Rupa Goswami indirectly instructs that one who has been captivated by the beautiful smiling face of Krishna, Lord Golokananda, has lost all attraction for material enjoyments. This is the test of advancement in Krishna consciousness. A person advancing in Krishna consciousness must lose interest in material activities and personal sense gratification. Some of the gopis were factually detained from going to Krishna by their husbands and were locked up by force within their rooms. Being unable to go to Krishna, they began to meditate upon his transcendental form by closing their eyes. They already had the form of Krishna within their minds. They proved to be the greatest yogis. And it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a person who is constantly thinking of Krishna within his heart with faith and love is considered to be the topmost of all yogis. Actually, a yogi concentrates his mind on the form of Lord Vishnu. That is real yoga. Krishna is the original form of all Vishnu tattvas, and the gopis who could not personally go to Krishna began to meditate on him as perfect yogis. The gopi associates of Krishna who assembled in the place where Krishna was appearing were from different groups. Most of the gopis were eternal companions of Krishna. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabi. In the spiritual world, the associates of Krishna, especially the gopis, are manifestations of the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. They are expansions of Srimati Radha Rani. But when Krishna exhibits his transcendental pastimes within the material world and some of the universes, not only the eternal associates of Krishna come, but also those who are being promoted to that status from this material world. So some of the gopis who joined Krishna's pastimes within this material world were coming from the status of ordinary human beings. That's really significant. There's hope against hope for us all. If they had been bound by fruitive action, they were fully freed from the reactions of karma by constant meditation on Krishna. Their severely painful yearnings caused by their not being able to see Krishna freed them from all sinful reactions, and their ecstasy of transcendental love for Krishna in his absence ended all their reactions to material pious activities. The conditioned soul is subjected to birth and death either by pious or sinful activities, but the gopis who began to meditate on Krishna transcended both positions and became purified and thus elevated to the status of the gopis already expanded by his pleasure potency. All the gopis who concentrated their minds on Krishna in the spirit of paramour love became fully purified of all the fruitive reactions of material nature, and some of them immediately gave up their material bodies, developed under the three modes of nature. No. So if they weren't allowed to go to the rasa dance, they were locked in their rooms and they were just meditating on Krishna with perfect concentration, they were able to leave their bodies and join him. And those bodies were material, as Prabhupada said, developed under the three modes of material nature. So that would include us as well, if we were so advanced that we could fully focus on Krishna, his form. Maharaj Parikshit heard Sukadeva Goswami explain the situation of the gopis who ascended with Krishna in the rasa dance. When he heard that some of the gopis, simply by concentrating on Krishna as their paramour, became freed from all contamination of material birth and death, he said, The gopis did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They accepted him as a beautiful boy and considered him to be their paramour. So how was it possible for them to get freed from the material condition just by thinking of a paramour? One should consider here that Krishna and ordinary living beings are qualitatively one. The ordinary living beings, being part and parcel of Krishna, are also Brahman, but Krishna is the supreme, Para Brahman. The question is, if it is possible for a devotee to get free from the material contaminated stage simply by thinking of Krishna, then why should this not be possible for others who are also thinking of someone? If one is thinking of a husband or son, or if anyone at all is thinking of another living entity, then, since all living entities are also Brahman, why are those who thus think of others not freed from the contaminated stage of material nature? This is a very intelligent question because there are always atheists imitating Krishna. In these days of Kali Yuga, there are many rascals who think themselves to be as good as Krishna and who cheat people into believing that thinking of them is as good as thinking of Lord Krishna. Parikshit Maharaj, apprehending the future dangerous condition of blind followers of demoniac imitators, therefore asked this question, and fortunately it is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam to warn innocent people that thinking of an ordinary man and thinking of Krishna are not the same. So even though we can't see, touch, feel Krishna, in this material world we're so bombarded with personalities, with people that, we should worship, right? We know of a lot of personalities now that are being worshipped, and even some of them are even having statues made of them, and those are being worshipped, these material personalities. And even accepting that worship like that and thinking it's okay, condoning it, it's very demonic. Sukadeva Goswami reminded Parikshit about the salvation of Shishupal. Shishupal was always envious of Krishna, and because of his envy, Krishna killed him. But since Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shishupal gained salvation simply by seeing him. If an envious person can get salvation simply by concentrating his mind on Krishna, then what to speak of the gopis, who are so dear to Krishna and always think of him in love? Sukadeva Goswami continued to inform Maharaj Parikshit that Krishna is not an ordinary person, but rather the Supreme Personality of Godhead, imperishable, immeasurable, and without any material qualities, but full of all spiritual qualities. He appears in this material world out of his causeless mercy, and whenever he appears as he is, without change. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says that he appears by his spiritual potency. He does not appear under the control of the material potency. When the gopis assembled as described before Krishna, he began to speak to them, welcoming them as discouraging them by word jugglery. We know Krishna was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You shouldn't have come here. You should have," I'll read it. "Oh, ladies of Vrindavan," Krishna says, "you are very fortunate and you are very dear to me. I am very pleased that you have come here, and I hope everything is well in Vrindavan. Now please order me. What can I do for you? What is the purpose of your coming here in the dead of night? Kindly take your seats and let me know what I can do for you." The gopis had come to Krishna to enjoy his company, to dance with him, embrace him, and kiss him. And when Krishna began to receive them very officially, showing all kinds of etiquette, they were surprised. He was treating them like ordinary society women. Therefore, they began to smile amongst themselves, and though they were very eagerly listening to Krishna talk that way, they were surprised. Then Krishna began to instruct them. "My dear friends, you must know that it is now the dead of night and the forest is very dangerous. At this time, all the ferocious jungle animals, the tigers, bears, jackals, and wolves are prowling in the forest. Therefore, it is very dangerous for you. You cannot select a secure place now. Everywhere you go, you will find that all these animals are loitering to find their prey. I think, therefore, that you are taking a great risk in coming here in the dead of night. Please turn back immediately without delay." When he saw that they continued to smile, he said, "I very much appreciate your bodily features. All of you have very nice, very thin waists." All of the gopis there were exquisitely beautiful. They are described by the word sumadhyama. The standard of beauty of a woman is said to be sumadhyama when the middle portion of the body is slender. Krishna wanted to impress on them that they were not old enough to take care of themselves. Actually, they required protection. It was not very wise for them to come in the dead of night to Krishna. Krishna also indicated that he was young and that they were young girls. It does not look very well for young girls and boys to remain together in the dead of night. After hearing this advice, the gopis did not seem very happy. Therefore, Krishna began to stress the point in a different way. "My dear friends, I can understand that you have left your homes without the permission of your guardians. Therefore, I think your mothers, your fathers, your elder brothers, and even your sons, and what to speak of your husbands, must be very anxious to find you. As long as you are here, they must be searching in different places, and their minds must be very agitated. So don't tarry. Please go back and make them peaceful." When the gopis appeared to be a little bit disturbed and angry from hearing the free advice of Krishna, they diverted their attention to looking at the beauty of the forest. At that time, the whole forest was illuminated by the bright shining of the moon, and the air was blowing very silently over the blooming flowers, and the green leaves of the trees were moving in the breeze. Krishna took the opportunity of their looking at the forest to advise them, "I think you have come out to see the beautiful Vrindavan forest on this night," he said. "But you must now be satisfied, so return to your homes without delay. I understand that you are all very chaste women, so now that you have seen the beautiful atmosphere of the Vrindavan forest, please return home and engage in the faithful service of your respective husbands. Some of you must have babies by this time, although you are very young. You must have left your small babies at home, and they must be crying. Please immediately go back home and just feed them with your breast milk. I can also understand that you have very great affection for me, and out of that transcendental affection, you have come here, hearing my playing on the flute. Your feelings of love and affection for me are very appropriate because I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All living creatures are my parts and parcels, and naturally they are very affectionate to me. So this affection for me is very welcome, and I congratulate you for this. Now you can go back to your homes. Another thing I must explain to you is that for a chaste woman, service to the husband without duplicity is the best religious principle. Not only should a woman be faithful and chaste to her husband, but she should also be affectionate to the friends of her husband, obedient to the father and mother of her husband, and affectionate to the younger brothers of her husband. And most importantly, a woman must take care of her children. In this way, Krishna explained the duty of a woman. He also stressed the point of serving the husband. Even if he is not a very good character, or even if he is not very rich or fortunate, or even if he is old or invalid on account of continued diseases, whatever her husband's condition, a woman should not divorce her husband if she actually desires to be elevated to the higher planetary systems after leaving this body. Besides that, it is considered abominable in society if a woman is unfaithful and goes searching for another man. Such habits will deter a woman from being elevated to the heavenly planets, and the results of such habits are very degrading. A married woman should not search for a paramour, for this is not sanctioned by the Vedic principles of life. If you think that you are very much attached to me and you want my association, I advise you not to personally try to enjoy me. It is better for you to go home. Simply think about me and think of me, and by this process of constantly remembering me and chanting my names, you will certainly be elevated to the spiritual platform. There is no need to stand near me. Please go back home. This instruction given herein by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the gopi was not at all sarcastic. Such instruction should be taken very seriously by all honest women. The chastity of women is specifically stressed herein by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, this principle should be followed by any serious woman who wants to be elevated to a higher status of life. Krishna is the center of all affection for all living creatures. When this affection is developed for Krishna, one surpasses and transcends all Vedic injunctions. This was possible for the gopis because they saw Krishna face to face. This is not possible for any woman in the conditioned state. When Krishna spoke in such a discouraging way to the gopis, they became very sad, for they thought that their desire to enjoy the rasa dance with Krishna would be frustrated. Thus they became full of anxiety. Out of great sadness, the gopis began to breathe very heavily. Instead of looking at Krishna face to face, they bowed their heads and looked at the ground, and they began to draw various types of curved lines on the ground with their toes. They were shedding heavy tears, and their cosmetic decorations were being washed from their faces. The water from their eyes mixed with the kumkuma on their breasts and fell to the ground. They could not say anything to Krishna, but simply stood there silently. By their silence, they expressed that their hearts were grievously wounded. The gopis were not ordinary women. In essence, they were on an equal level with Krishna. They are his eternal associates. As it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, they are expansions of the pleasure potency of Krishna, and as his potency, they are non-different from him. Although they were depressed by the words of Krishna, they did not like to use harsh words against him, yet they wanted to rebuke Krishna for their unkind words, and therefore they began to speak in faltering voices. Krishna, they said, you are very cruel. You should not talk like that. We are full-fledged surrendered souls. Please accept us and don't talk in that cruel way. Of course you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and can do whatever you like, but it is not worthy of your position to treat us in such a cruel way. We have come to you leaving everything behind just to take shelter of your lotus feet. We know that you are completely independent and can do whatever you like, but we request you, don't reject us. We are your devotees. You should accept us as Lord Narayan accepts his devotees. There are many devotees of Lord Narayan who worship him for salvation, and he awards them salvation. Similarly, how can you reject us when we have no shelter other than your lotus feet? Oh dear Krishna, they concerned, you are the supreme instructor. There is no doubt about it. Your instructions to women to be faithful to their husbands and merciful to their children, to take care of household affairs and to be obedient to the elderly members of the family are surely just according to the tenets of Shastras. But we know that one may perfectly observe all these instructions of the Shastras by keeping oneself under the protection of your lotus feet. Our husbands, friends, family members, and children are all dear and pleasing to us only because of your presence, for you are the super soul of all living creatures. Without your presence, one is worthless. When you leave the body immediately dies. And according to the injunction of Shastra, a dead body must be immediately burned or thrown into a river. Therefore, ultimately, you are the dearmost personality in this world. By placing our faith and love in your personality, we are assured of never being bereft of a husband, friends, sons, or daughters. If a woman accepts you as the supreme husband, then she will never be bereft of her husband as in the bodily concept of life. If we accept you as our ultimate husband, there is no question of being separated, divorced, or widowed. You are the eternal husband, eternal son, eternal friend, and eternal master, and one who enters take this to mean that since we are all Prakriti, no matter what sort of body we are in, we are all meant to be enjoyed by Krishna, and therefore we should pray like this to Krishna, that Krishna be our supreme friend, our supreme lover, our supreme enjoyer, brother, father, mother. All in all, he's the supreme, and if we can all just simply remember Krishna at all times and in all circumstances and pray like this to the Lord, he will surely come and he will scoop us up. It's stated in another chapter, I think it's 10:14-28, that if we are constantly meditating on Krishna and remembering him, patiently suffering the results of our actions and our karma, then he will come and scoop us up and to receive us, and that is actually our rightful claim. So we just have to be in it to win it and keep our eyes on the prize, and that prize is Krishna. Lord Golokananda, Radha Golokananda ki jai.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Kanvandam Maravindanalayataksam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Nandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasta Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Vivan Vikayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham.
I need something to like just to stand. Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Satkundalam Gokule Rajamanam. Yashoda Biyoluka Ladavamanam Paramristamatyanta Dodruja Gopya. Rudam tam muhur netram yugmam mrijantam karam boja yugmena satanka netram. Muhuswasa kampa trire kanta kanta stita graivam damodaram bhakti vadam. Iti Driksvalila Birhananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajantam Akyapayantam. Tadiyeshita geshu bhaktarjitatvam Puna prematastam shata vrittibante. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadim va nachanyam rineham vareshadapiha. Idam te vapurnata gopala bala Idam te vapurnata gopala bala Sada me manasya virastam kimanyai. Idam te mukam bojam atyanta nilar Vritam kuntalai snigda raktasya gopya. Muhushchumbitam bimba raktadaram me Manasa virastam alam lakshalabai. Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukkha Jalabhimagnam. Kripa Dristi Vrisjati Dinam Bhatanu Grihanesha Mamakyam Edyakshi Drishya. Kuverat Majau Bhatha Mujaiva Yadva Tvaya Mochitau Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Cha. Tata Prema Bhaktim Swakame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha. Namaste Sudamne Spuradipti Damne Tvadiyo Daraya Vishvasya Damne. Namo Radhikayai Tvaidiyai Priyayai Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Namo Radhikayai Tvaidiyai Priyayai Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Namo Radhikayai Tvaidiyai Priyayai Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha, Goloka Nanda Radha, Goloka Nanda Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form, blissful knowledge, whose listening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and as Mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions